Hello everyone, welcome back again to my channel. My name is Francis Ifeacho, and I am an INFJ life coach, a speaker, an author, and also a spiritual teacher. If you are new to my channel, welcome to my channel. Please hit the like button and also subscribe to stay updated on my contents. And if you are a returning subscriber, welcome back to my channel. I highly appreciate you for coming back to my channel. In this channel, I'll be sharing my life experiences and also my knowledge on several spiritual topics. And hopefully, it is my desire and my intention that this video inspires change and helps some people out there positively. And without wasting much time, we'll go straight into the topic for today. It's the different types of souls, just as the topic says. Um, So, types of souls, I always say this in all of my videos just to serve as a refresher that, especially if this is the first time hearing this will serve as a preamble for the message in this video. So, I always say this that you're not your body that you can feel and touch. The main you, the real you is a soul that lies within your body. That is your true essence. And we're not just human beings here on earth having a human experience. We are actually uh, we actually souls. I'm sorry, I take that back. We're not just human beings here on earth just who happen to have a soul. We are actually souls having a human experience. So what that means is that as a soul, on a soul level, we chose to incarnate here on earth, in this place and time, to have this experience in whatever life path and whatever life decisions that we have to make here on earth as well. So with that being said, this brings us to the concept of reincarnation, which is a process where souls come incarnate here on earth and sort of go through the earth school, learning and evolving and growing through each lifetimes. There are no mistakes. What we deem as a mistake is actually a learning experience because it's through these mistakes that we learn and grow. So souls go through this. It's like a evolving evolution process where the soul comes to earth, and over each lifetime the goal of each lifetime is to come and learn and grow and evolve and leave hopefully more evolved than they were when they first incarnated. So that brings us to the concept of types of souls, because right here on earth at this moment there are about 8 billion souls who have chosen to be here on earth at this time, and not everyone's on the same level of spiritual evolution. Some souls are just starting out their incarnation, and some souls are sort of in between, and some souls are old souls or advanced souls. So today I'm going to be using the classification of, I believe it's Michael Newton, and in this classification he breaks down souls into five different kinds. So we have I believe it's the infant souls, then we have the baby souls, then we have the young souls, then we have the mature souls, and then we have the old souls. So pretty much in his description, he breaks down all kinds of people on earth, all the souls that are right here on earth at this time, or all those who are going through the journey of incarnation here on earth. He breaks everybody down according to the level of soul growth. So a lot of people might ask questions on the internet like, "Am I an old soul? Am I?" There are different characteristics that tend to describe each soul and on each level of at each stage of their own incarnation, pretty much. And there's some pretty much distinct characteristics that define each soul group. And also be aware that some souls might be in the process of evolving or moving from one level to the other. So they might exhibit characteristics of both levels based on, because if they're in the process of evolution, they might fluctuate in between both levels at times until they fully evolve into the next level. So let's start with the infant souls. So pretty much infant souls are souls who are new to the earth experience. They're typically incarnating their first time, or it's probably their first few lifetimes here on earth. So one of the very first basic lessons they have to learn is how to survive on earth, how to get used to the body, how to get used to the weathers, how to survive, how to defend themselves, how to just pretty much learn how to live in the human body. What does it feel like to feel cold? Because cold and heat, these things do not exist in the afterlife. So when souls choose to come here on earth and it's their very first time, they have to first acclimatize to the living conditions here of earth. Okay, so if you feel hot, what do you do? If you feel cold, what do? You cover yourself up. If you feel if you feel whatever, so they're here to learn how to pretty much get used to the human body and also get used to living their life here on earth. So typically, these souls, because they are still trying to learn the basics of getting used to the human body, they typically you would not really find them in advanced societies where the the, the lifestyle is complex. So typically, they choose to incarnate in areas that are very simple, where without much, say, technology or complex sort of living, because they still need to adapt to getting used to being in the human body. Because if these souls were to incarnate, say, in a very advanced society like the United States, it's going to be too much for them to handle because it's their first time and everything seems so different and so might feel exposed and scared at the same time. So you typically find them in more tribal groups. Think about like the Amazon or the forests. Groups that are typically tribal that live in small groups out somewhere in the country among themselves. Those situations tend to provide the best start off for these souls because by living in those conditions where it's not a lot of technology and a lot of AI and a lot of computers and a lot of fast traffic and things like that, they're able to focus on learning how to be in the human body, what it feels like, what pain feels like, what joy feels like, what happiness feels like, what cold feels like, what heat feels like. So they have to first master these lessons first, and then once they start to get comfortable being in the human body, now their soul is evolving now to the next level, being the baby souls. So once the soul has completed its first lesson of being not the first lesson, but the first stage of being an infant soul, they progress into the baby soul. Now the soul is ready to go out there and live in a normal human society. But now they're still new. They're still coming in fresh into the regular human society. So typically, these souls tend to be born in very religious communities, and they tend to be very religious because at this level, religion helps them to modulate their it serves as a religion tends to serve as a modulation for them. It gives them this space, this context to sort of start to grow and evolve as they keep evolving on the soul level. So one great characteristic of baby souls is that they tend to be very religious at this level and very fundamentalist as well. Not I'm not trying to throw shade to anybody, but typically at this level, religion sort of provides them that framework, the the context for them to start to integrate into regular societal life. And religion, because religion tends to provide rules and regulations and laws to abide to, this sort of serves as a framework for them to sort of follow these rules and to learn how to live in a society. So at this level, one of the major markers of baby souls is that they tend to be very religious. And at this level, they might not, so whatever religion they're born into at this stage, they tend to see that religion as the one and only, the best out there in the world. Nothing else is better than this religion, mine or nothing. So they tend to be very fundamentalist, and it serves them for a while. It serves them, it gives them, it's they're learning how to live by rules and regulations in the society. So at this level, being very religious is a great marker of baby souls. Now, I'm not saying that all religious folks are baby souls, but in general, baby souls tend to be very religious in whatever religion they are born in because it provides the rules. Religion serves as, it provides the rules and regulations and the laws, the framework that they can live by. And by doing that, they're learning how to adapt and live within a regular societal context. Now, when a soul has lived a couple of lifetimes at this level, now it's getting more comfortable. It's starting to it's learn how to live within a society. It's learn how to live by the rules and regulations. Oh, another marker is religion provides this context of good or bad. So it gives them it's well ingrained in baby souls to see things from either good or bad, or uh, good or good or bad, or good or evil, and no in betweens. So it's either my way or your way. It's typically another marker of the baby souls at this stage. Now, there's a difference between being religious and being fundamentalist. So they take it very fundamentalist. So what that means is they take their religion very seriously. Whatever religion they find themselves born into, it's they take it very seriously. It's the best. And nothing else beats theirs. So that's the idea that they have. Now, the mature souls, which I'll come to later on, and the baby souls share one thing in common. They tend to be religious, but the difference is, which I'll explain when I get to the mature level stage. Now, as the soul starts to get more comfortable living in a society and living by the rules and regulations, now the soul starts to evolve into the young soul stage. So now this is where the soul is getting more comfortable to go out there in the world now, because now they've gotten used to living in a society. Now they evolve into young souls. So young souls now, the world is new to them. The world is to be conquered. The world is exciting. It's a lot of treasures. It's a lot of um, it's exciting. They want to go experience the world out there. So at this stage, they tend to be very, very, very energetic. Very also they love it. They might be not might be, but for the most part, they tend to be very materialistic. Not in a bad way, but it's an experience. They want to experience the material aspect of life. Being in the infant stage and in the baby soul stage, typically these desires are not the main. They're not typically met at those stages. So when they come to the young soul stage, because one thing you have to understand is every soul stage offers a learning experience. So once the soul evolves into the young soul stage, they're the movers and shakers of the world. They're out there. They see the world as a place to be conquered. They they love it's a thrill to go out to the world and experience and grow and have child and have fun and have and pretty much conquer the world. So uh, the major characteristics of young souls is that they tend to be very energetic. Even in the 80s and maybe 90s or 70s, they still have that zest for life in them because they're at that level where they're exploring the world, they're trying to conquer the world. The world is a place to be conquered. And another marker is they're very materialistic in a very good way, not in a bad way. Um, because there is no good or bad anyway. So they love material possessions and things like that. That's the for the young souls. Now, as the soul goes through this level, evolves through this level in a couple of lifetimes, now now they've had the experience, the thrill of the world, and they start to mature more into the mature soul stage where they might want material things, but now they start to temper it with more. That's typically they start to step back again into religion. Now they're trying to at this stage, they sort of finding a balance between the material world and the religious world or the spiritual world. So a lot of times the mature souls are more they're thinkers and philosophers. They've been through it all through the previous three soul stages: the infant, the baby, and the young soul stages, and they've learned their lessons. They've grown, they've evolved, so they are more mature at this stage. They know at this level deep down because as a soul, each lifetime you live, whatever experiences that you've had in that lifetime, they're embedded in your soul, and then when you reincarnate again, it's right there in your subconscious mind. And this explains why you see certain kids who are born acting so mature for their age, and then you're like wondering, like, oh, this. This kid is only 2 years old or 3 years old, but they're so mature in reasoning and in wisdom. It's because that soul could be a mature soul or an old soul, and I'll get to the old soul stage level. So at the mature level, you find that they are more mature. They're normally philosophical thinkers. At this level, they're not just thinking for themselves again, unlike young souls that put themselves first before others. And when they're also trying to make money as a young soul, they don't really care who it affects or how it affects the environment. It's all the care, like the major care is just focused on making that money, and it's putting me first before others, which is an experience to be had anyway. But in the mature soul stage, they start to see the bigger picture. At this level, they know that it's not just me, but they start to realize that other people exist. So I have to be careful in my decisions. If I'm going to make money, for example, I have to be very careful how it affects other people or the environment. So whereas a young soul might want to make money or start a company that might emit gases, for example, or certain toxins that may affect the environment, the mature soul might think, oh, this I might have to do it in another way because doing it this way is going to affect the environment or people around. So they're more they're more they're more involved in their thinking. So they think about the pros and cons in the decisions. Whereas the young souls are just out to get the money um, without really much thought about the after effects of how they make the money or how it affects the environment or people around them. So this is one difference between a young soul and a mature soul. Now, the young soul might not be particularly religious, or they may be born in a religious background, but they tend to not be all that religious at that level. This is a level where they step out from the religious framework for a while to go and experience the world. And then the mature soul stage is they're coming back again to that religious fold, but they're more mature. And one major difference between the mature soul and the baby soul is that they're not fundamentalists. So they don't have this strong sense of my religion or my faith is the best, and no one, every faith out there doesn't match up to my faith. They've outgrown that level. So they have this acceptance and understanding that all faiths serve everybody for their own purpose, and all faiths, all religions ultimately serve the same God. So they start to come to that understanding that of respect for others, for all their opinions, their beliefs. So the mantras in this level is acceptance, understanding, expanding their view of themselves, and not just themselves, but to people around them, to be connected. And when they do make money, they make it in a in a very thoughtful way that is the least impactful to the environment, the people around them. They take a lot of things into consideration. And so now the mature soul is also very philosophical as well because all of the life experiences they've gained from being an infant soul, a baby soul, a young soul, and the mature soul, and then being a mature soul, this is where their experiences start to accumulate and reflect in their soul essence. So a kid who is the soul who is born as in the mature, who is a mature soul, who is born into a parent, into to their parents, they tend to exhibit like mature soul, mature characteristics as a kid. And these are those kids that you might see, oh, you're too wise for your age. This is a soul that has lived a couple of lifetimes. They've been there, they've done it, they've learned, they've grown through the experiences as well. And they're here to keep on evolving and growing. Now, this brings us to the final soul stage, being the old soul stage. Now, if you go to the internet, everybody wants to be an old soul because it sounds good to be an old soul. It sounds like, oh, I'm an old soul. I've been here 1,000 times, and I'm wrapping up my incarnation here on Earth. I'm getting ready to exit the reincarnation cycle. While it might sound good to be an old soul, there are definitely some characteristics that can tell if you are an old soul. So old souls typically, generally speaking, because they've had their lessons through several lifetimes, they tend to be. So this is where the soul steps out of religion again. And at this stage, they tend to be very spiritual. Now, not all spiritual people are old souls, but one marker of old souls is that they know that the soul, the soul is beyond, what's the right word to say? The soul cannot be contained or confined within religion. That the soul actually is more expansive. So they tend to be very spiritual, and they might tend to live like simple, quiet, alone lives. They're also very, very giving and charitable. They might be participating in charity organizations and silently without people even knowing that because they've been there, they've done it, they've learned, and they've gone through all these different stages of the soul levels. Then also they might old souls typically do not have, unlike the young souls that have the zest and drive for success. Old souls tend to not, they don't have it. Even if they do, it's maybe for a reason or for a purpose, but it's, you don't typically find that level of zeal and zest in old souls compared to young souls. They've done it during that stage. They've experienced life. They've known what they've experienced life as a successful man or a woman or whatever they were in their incarnation. They know what it's like to be successful. They've chased after material things. They've experienced these things, and these things no longer have this attraction for them anymore. They're no longer attracted to that because they've been there. They've experienced all that before. So old souls are very wise, also very philosophical, because they're wrapping up their incarnation here on earth. They might have a few lessons here and there to complete or to integrate before they wrap up their reincarnation cycle. And also, typically, another thing I've noticed is that at this level, for some souls, this might be the level stage where they might be trying to balance their energies. So, some souls, over the course of their lifetimes, as they evolve, they might prefer to incarnate in one gender over the other. So, let's say a soul, for example, prefers to incarnate in the female gender. Maybe they prefer having experiences from that angle. But on the soul level, the soul is androgynous. The soul is genderless. It's not meant to be more of one, the masculine or the feminine. But when the soul tends to have a lot of experiences, say from the eyes or from the lens of one gender, at some point they have to balance the energies because now they're out of balance. So typically at the mature and the old soul stages, a lot of souls tend to incarnate in the opposite gender in order to balance out the energies, in order to have life experiences from the viewpoint of the other gender, to have the energies and experiences more balanced. And we tend to see a lot of old souls who may be out of balance at these stages, balancing out the energies. In the Chinese mythology, it's said to be yin yang energy balance. So a lot of old souls might be at the stage where they have to balance out the energies at this stage. Also, they might be very when it comes to their sexuality. You might see a lot of bisexuality in old souls because they've for some souls that have been incarnated in both bodies. At the old soul stage, they've been in both genders. They have equal amounts of experiences, and bisexuality might be common in old souls at that level as well. They tend to live very peaceful and quiet lifetimes. They usually don't like the limelight or attraction. If they are in the limelight, it's for a purpose, and at this level, they're like I said, they're wrapping up their life experiences, getting ready to exit the reincarnation cycle. This is for old souls. And then once these souls have completed all their lessons and gone through all the soul stages, now the soul has finished its what is called graduated from the reincarnation cycle. And now they can go on to live in the afterlife in other realms, in other planets, or they may choose to reincarnate back on Earth to serve as a teacher or a guide to help other souls still going through their own soul evolutions. So think about some of the famous or greatest religious teachers who have left decades and centuries of teachings and have impacted lives. They tend to be souls that have graduated the reincarnation cycle who chose to come back on earth to show others the way. And one great example of that soul would be no other than Jesus Christ. In his lifetime, he was here to teach and show souls how to the better way to be, and which is through love, through acts of service and kindness and love to one another, through being nice and understanding and showing genuine care and love for others, just as you love yourself, and also loving God as well. And famous, a lot of famous teachers like Mahatma Gandhi, Buddha, Jesus Christ, and one common thing they've taught is the importance of love as a soul here on earth, because we are here to cultivate love within ourselves in all aspects of our lives. And it's only through love that we will be able to get through the reincarnation wheel, from start to finish. So now, for parents out there who may be watching this video, if you have a kid who you felt like has been, was so mature for their age when they were kids, or they've shown signs of maturity from a young age, hey, you might have a young, an old soul or a mature soul as well. Um, One difference between old and mature souls is that mature souls, they tend to be quite not. The difference is that they may be religious, but old souls are not typically not in religion. Now, not to throw shit against religions, but this is just one difference, because there's a difference between being religious and being spiritual. So spiritual is awakening to the fact that you're a soul having a human experience, and that the soul is limitless. The soul is infinite. The soul is immortal. It never dies. And when you recognize that, you realize that you cannot be confined within the four walls of anything, and you live your life in accordance with the spiritual laws of the universe right here on earth. Being religious means that you subscribe to a particular religion or belief system or faith, that you walk in accordance with their rules and regulations or their laws, which is not bad, and it's an aspect. Everybody's at their own different levels of growth and understanding. So this is one major difference between being religious and being spiritual. And yes, so I hope that this video has explained the five different levels. Now, there are other classification systems out there that have different other levels, but I find this classification system to be very simple and also easy to explain as well. And so I guess my question now is, what kind of soul do you think you are? Are you an infant soul? Are you a baby soul? Are you a young soul? Are you an old soul, or are you a mature soul? Please drop your answer in the comment. I look forward to hearing your answers. And please leave a like, hit the like button if this video inspired you. And please subscribe if this is the first time for this channel. Thank you for stopping by, and have a wonderful day.